What is up, every pony and every Pegasister? This is Bruno here at Equestria Uploads, bringing you my very first narration of a pony fanfic. Please feel free to read along as I'm leaving the link to the story in the description, and I hope you enjoy. Leave a comment and a like if you liked it, and here we go. This is how Lyra met Bonbon by Butterscotch Sundae. Come on, sis, begged Apple Bloom, turning to Applejack with her biggest, most glistening doe-eyed look. You promised that if we behaved all morning, that you'd tell me and the rest of the Crusaders a story. Beside her, Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle both nodded in agreement. Applejack sighed. How can any pony say no to a trio of young'uns as cute as you three? She looked out the window of the homestead as the wild storm that the Pegasus ponies had brought to Ponyville. And seeing how it's all stormy out and all, it seems like a fine way to pass the time. Now, what kind of story should I tell y'all? She brought a hoof to her chin and thought. Oh, I know. How about a story about cutie marks, you being the cutie mark crusaders and all? Sounds boring, complained Scootaloo. Apple Bloom glowered at her. Cutie marks ain't never boring, she said in a huff. Go ahead and tell your story, sis. Sweetie Belle nodded her horned head in agreement. Whose cutie mark story are we going to hear, ma'am? Applejack laughed. I done told you before, Sweetie Belle. Just call me Applejack. We don't rest on no ceremony here on Sweet Apple Acres. She sat down on the floor, and the cutie mark crusaders sat in a semicircle in front of her. So, this is the story of how Lyra and Bonbon got their cutie marks. It was a long, long time ago. Nah, wait a sec, I ain't that old. It was, well, let's just say in the past. Uh, I, I was just a little filly, no bigger than all you three, still going to school. Was Miss Cheerilee the teacher then as well? Interrupted Sweetie Belle. Don't be silly, Applejack laughed. Cheerilee ain't that old. Nah, we had another teacher back then, but she was an earth pony just like Miss Cheerilee. Applejack scratched her head. Can't seem to remember the name though. Oh well, she don't really come into the story much anyways. I reckon y'all much more interested in hearing about ponies you know about rather than some original character. Scootaloo nodded enthusiastically. You got that right. Applejack continued. So one day, a new student came to the school. Her name was Lyra. I remember it just like it was yesterday. She was really small, even for a little filly, with a mint-colored coat and a light blue mane with a streak of white in it. We were all interested in her because she was a unicorn pony. Now, back in those days, there weren't so many unicorn ponies in Ponyville. We had two in our class, but even despite that, unicorn ponies seemed extra special to us Earth ponies. We are special, Sweetie Belle said, bobbing her little horned head in the air and setting it aglow with a sputtering light. She started to lift Apple Bloom with her magic, but she only managed to get her around 2 inches off the floor before the magic gave out and Apple Bloom fell to the floor. Hey, she cried in surprise. Quit that. Earth ponies are just as special as unicorn ponies. We've got extra powerful muscles. To demonstrate, she flexed her own tiny muscles. Scootaloo snorted. Huh. It's us Pegasus ponies who are the special ones. She flapped her wings. Can either of you two do that? Applejack cut in. All right, all right. Can we just agree that every type of pony is special in their own way? Then I'll just go on with the story. We all thought that Lyra would end up being friends with the two other unicorn ponies, so we didn't really try to make friends with her or nothing. Looking back, it was the wrong thing to do, but we were just little fillies and colts back then and didn't know much about about life. Beside her, the two unicorn ponies had always kept to themselves, practicing their magic, and never tried to be friends with us other ponies, so I guess what we did was understandable. And anyway, when we sat Lyra and the other unicorn ponies in the playground together day after day, we decided we'd guess right. So we went on playing our own games and paid them no heed. Then, one day, after recess, Lyra didn't come back to class. The teacher got all concerned, so she sent one of us to look for her. And that some pony she sent was a real tearaway of an earth pony called Bonbon. What's a tearaway? Asked Scootaloo. Applejack thought for a moment. Well, a tearaway is just a pony. Is a pony with just so much energy it kind of just spills out of her, usually in the wrong direction. Sweetie Belle was awestruck. So, just like Scootaloo? Scootaloo flapped her wings in excitement. So I'm a tearaway? Applejack laughed. Nah, you're just a feisty little Pegasus filly. What I'm thinking of is a pony who's mad at the whole world for some reason or another, and wants to take out all other ponies. What was Bon Bon angry at? Asked Apple Bloom. She couldn't imagine Bon Bon being angry at any pony. Mind you, she had been really annoyed when Apple Bloom had sneaked those apples into her saddlebags that time. Well, Applejack said, you, you, you know how some ponies got more money than other ponies? The three fillies nodded. Well, Bon Bon's family didn't have nearly no money at all, and she used to get teased an awful lot about it. Especially come lunchtime. Applejack frowned at the memory. The rest of us have snacks of parents that had packed for us, but Bon Bon never had anything. And some of the other foals would rib on her, doing mean things like throwing sweets at her and stuff like that. So she just stopped trying to make friends and sat by herself. And if any pony tried to do anything to her, she'd grab them and threaten to stomp them into the ground. So Bon Bon went looking for Lyra. Truth was, she was real happy to get out of class and into the sunshine, away from those bullies. So she took her time around looking around school, under the main building, behind the gymnasium, in the auditorium, but she couldn't find Lyra nowhere. She was just about to give up when she remembered the big old oak tree in the playground, and sure enough, she found Lyra sitting behind it, crying her little eyes out. Now, Bon Bon might have been a tearaway, but she wasn't a bad pony. She had a big heart, and seeing Lyra like that made it melt. She trotted up to her and looked in her face. Lyra's eyes were all red from crying so hard, and her cheeks were soaping wet. But she stopped crying and looked up at Bon Bon. "What's the matter?" asked Bon Bon. Lyra didn't reply, but just looked down and started crying again. Bon Bon stamped a hoof in frustration. "Okay, so don't tell me. It's not like I care anyway." She grabbed Lyra by the forehoofs and pulled her to her feet. "The teacher says I was supposed to come get you, and that's what I'm gonna do." Lyra was so surprised by Bon Bon grabbing her that she quit her crying and sniffed away her tears. But when Bon Bon tried to lead her back to the schoolroom, she dug her hooves in the ground and wouldn't budge. Bon Bon rolled her eyes. "Now what is it?" Lyra pointed up into the tree, and Bon Bon looked up. Something was glittering high in the branches. Lyra finally spoke, in a voice so soft it barely more than a whisper. "It's my lyre," she explained. "I can't get it." Bon Bon frowned. "Your lyre?" Oh, she must have meant that little music instrument that she always seemed to have with her. How did you get it up so far? Sorry about that. How did you get it so far up there?" Lyra's eyes almost grew moist, and Bon Bon was worried that the waterworks were going to start up again, afresh. "The other unicorn pony girls use their magic to put it up there," she explained. Bon Bon clicked her tongue. "So you use your unicorn magic to get the power to get it down, then?" She tapped the little filly right on her horn and said, she said, sorry, I'll read that again. Bon Bon clicked her tongue. "So, you use your unicorn power to get it down, then?" She tapped the little filly right on her horn as she said it. Lyra started to cry. "I can't," she sobbed. "I keep trying and trying, but my magic isn't strong enough yet." Bon Bon suddenly felt bad for her tapping on her horn, and she decided she was going to do something to make her feel better. "Just wait here," she said, climbing onto the bottom branches of the tree. "Let me show you some earth pony magic." Lyra watched as Bon Bon, puffing and panting and stretching and pulling, climbed her way up where the lyre was hanging. Close up, Bon Bon marveled at how beautiful it looked. It must have cost a fortune. That thought brought back those ice cubes that had just started to thaw around her heart, as she snatched up the instrument angrily and climbed quickly back down. Lyra was cantering in little circles, her face all lit up with joy. "Oh, my lyre!" she sang out brightly. "Thank you, oh thank you." Bon Bon tossed it to her. "Here you go," she said without a smile. "Now come back to class. You're gonna get me in trouble with the teacher if we stay out too long." Lyra was taken aback by the sudden change in Bon Bon's demeanor, but she was so happy to have her lyre back that nothing could have busted her up her good mood. Bon Bon didn't say anything for a while as they walked back to class, but finally her curiosity got the better of her. I thought those unicorn ponies were your friends, she said. Lyra shook her head. They're always bullying me because I'm so bad at magic. Lyra Bonbon's face dropped a little, and she could feel those ice cubes starting to melt away again. There was just some about this little filly that made her feel different from usual. She didn't feel so angry anymore, and part of her just wanted to hug the little unicorn filly and tell her that everything was gonna be all right. But of course, she didn't. Can you play that thing? Asked Bonbon. My lyre? Lyra nodded. Yeah, but I'm not so good at it. Bonbon stopped and looked at her. Can I hear you play it? Lyra looked around. Right here? She asked nervously. Isn't the teacher going to get angry if we don't go straight back? Bonbon laughed. Let her get angry. I just want to hear you play it. They were next to the auditorium by the stage, so Lyra sat down against the concrete, resting the lyre against one hoof. She brought her other hoof to the strings, but hesitated. Are you sure you want me to hear me play? I've never. Just play the darn thing, Bonbon snapped at her. Lyra almost leapt out of her height in surprise, but then she touched her hoof to the strings and started to play. And the music that came out of the lyre was so beautiful that no matter how many times I try to describe it, no words do it justice. We even heard it all over the or we even heard it in all we even heard it way over in the schoolroom. It wasn't that it was loud exactly. It was just that the music seemed so light and angelic that the air itself seemed to pick it up and waft it along. Bonbon's shoulder had slumped, and all the tension and anger in her body seemed to have been wafted away from those golden notes of Lyra's lyre. As soon as the music stopped, she came over and put a hoof on Lyra's shoulder and asked her, "Where did you learn to play like that?" Lyra smiled. "My mom taught me. She always says that a unicorn pony shouldn't just be about magic. They need other skills as well." She looked at Bonbon shyly. "Especially if you're bad as magic as I am." Bonbon nodded. "Your mom sounds like a wise mare," she said, "just like mine." As they continued to walking back to the schoolroom, Lyra told Bonbon all about herself, about her mom and dad, about her love of music, and about the trouble with the other unicorn ponies in the class. When she mentioned the unicorn ponies, Bonbon looked at her fiercely. "If you get in any more trouble with out of those two, you just come and tell me. I'll stomp them both into the ground." Lyra's eyes bugged out wide, and she nodded. I thought the story was about how they got their cutie marks," complained Apple Bloom. "All you've been talking about is how they met and how Lyra can play the lyre and just hold your ponies there, little sister," said Applejack in annoyance. "If and you keep interrupting so much, we'll never get to the end of the story." "Yeah, just be patient," agreed Sweetie Belle. "I like Bonbon," agreed Scootaloo. "I didn't know that she was such a tear-up, threatening to stomp other ponies into the ground all the time." Applejack chuckled. "That's tear away," she said, "and she's not like that's so much these days, on account of what's going to happen next in the story." Later that day at lunchtime, Bonbon was sitting on her own as usual, kicking up rocks up against the auditorium wall, when Lyra came running up to her. "Bonbon, Bonbon," she cried. It was difficult for her to talk on account of what she was carrying, a little box with a ribbon on it in her mouth. She dropped the package at Bonbon's feet and looked down at her own hooves shyly. Bonbon eyed her at the package suspiciously. "What is it?" she asked. Lyra didn't look up, and a blush reddened her cheeks. "It's a present. For you," she explained, "to thank you for rescuing my lyre." Bonbon took one end of the ribbon in her mouth and pulled it. The box fell open, revealing a little pile of sweets, each of them wrapped in different colored cellophane. "Do you like them? Do you like them?" chirped Lyra excitedly. "I made them in baking class. We were making chocolates for Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow. And then I remembered how you never seem to have any snacks, and I thought then maybe you'd like some sweets. And I thought you'd—" Bonbon turned on the little unicorn pony, a furious look on her face. "You thought? You thought? Do I seem that pathetic to you, that I need to beg for food off you?" She kicked dirt onto the little pile of sweets. "Here's what I think of your little charity." Lyra's face was distraught. She couldn't speak. She was so shocked by what Bonbon had gone and done. But I thought you were my friend, she sobbed. Bonbon smiled grimly. Ah, here come the tears again. She went to go, but then turned back. I don't need your charity, and I don't need any weakening ponies, unicorn pony friends like you. As Bonbon galloped away, Lyra looked at the sweets. She knelt down, brushing the dirt from them. She carefully put them back in the box and picked up the ribbon in her mouth. But her lips were trembling so much that she couldn't tie it properly, and eventually just gave up and sat there, crying her little eyes out. Eventually, it was time for class again, and Lyra had to get up and go. So she didn't see what happened next, though old Applejack did. I'd been in the gym, as usual, practicing my high jump. I was the class champion, don't you know. This one time was the annual athletics meet. I jumped over. Hey, said Scootaloo, annoyed. Isn't this a story about how it's supposed to be about Lyra and Bonbon? And cutie marks, added Apple Bloom. Applejack looked chagrined, I think. Yeah, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please correct me. Sorry about that. It's just that when I get to reminiscing. So, what Lyra didn't see was Bonbon come back a little while later, to where them sweets were still lying in the dirt, and she knelt down and picked every single last one of them, and as she did, these big old tears fell from her face and down to the ground like it was pouring with rain. None of us saw Bonbon for the rest of the day, but after school was out and Lyra was on her way home, her eyes still red and her hoofs still dirty from trying to dust off them sweets, Bonbon was waiting for her. Lyra, she started, but the unicorn pony just kept walking, faster and faster, and Bonbon had to break into a trot to keep up with her. Leave me alone, Lyra shouted out and started to gallop. Bonbon just stopped dead in the street and watched her go. She took some of the sweets from her saddlebag and clutched them in her hoof. I'm the one who should have kicked. I'm the one who should have dirt kicked all over me, she whispered. The next day came, and things seemed to have got back to usual. It was before class, and Bonbon was back to kicking rocks at the auditorium wall. She always got to school earlier than the others, so she could avoid having to meet any pony at the gates. But when Lyra arrived, Bonbon stopped kicking the stones and looked at her. She still seemed upset from the day before, but something about her was different. Bonbon couldn't work it out at first, but then it slowly dawned on her, and as it did, a huge smile, the first smile she'd had in years, spread all across her face. Lyra, Lyra, she cried, galloping up to her. Lyra shied away, but Bonbon was too quick for her this time. She grabbed the unicorn pony around the shoulders, laughing. Something wonderful has happened. What's happened? Lyra asked. She was still mighty hurt at everything that had happened the day before, but the joyful look on Bonbon's face was so unexpected that she forgot about it for just a little while. Your cutie mark, Bonbon cried, pointing at Lyra's flank. You got your cutie mark. Lyra's eyes went wide. My cutie mark? She looked around and there it was, plain as day. A little golden lyre had appeared on what had been a blank flank just the day before. Bonbon whooped in joy. A lyre! I just knew it'd be a lyre. Lyra smiled. But I've been playing the lyre forever. Why did it come all of a sudden? Bonbon shook her head. I don't know, but maybe when you played for me yesterday, something happened. But why yesterday? Lyra's eyes went wide. You're the first person I ever played my lyre to, she realized. Before that, I only ever played for myself or for my mom. Me? Bonbon pointed to her chest. I never knew I was the first pony you ever played for. She dropped her gaze. At that moment, Bonbon's heart was more full of emotions than she had names for. Guilt and joy and sadness and hope, and she didn't know which one to feel first. But more was to come. Lyra suddenly let out a gasp. Bonbon, Bonbon, she yelled. There's something on your flank as well. Bonbon turned around in shock. Now maybe she was expecting to see some kind of terrible cutie mark, like a skull and crossbones or something like that, because deep down she felt that it was the kind of mark she deserved. But when she looked and saw those three little sweets, all wrapped up in cellophane like Lyra's present, she finally knew how she felt. She felt happy, and happier than she ever had in a long, long time. Wow, the three fillies said in unison, Applejack nodded and smiled to herself. There sure was no pony could tell a story better than her. So Lyra got her cutie mark because of Bonbon, and Bonbon got hers because of Lyra? Sweetie Belle gushed. That's so cute. Scootaloo was unconvinced. But don't you think it's a bit convenient that Bonbon's name is Bonbon, and that the cutie mark she got was a bunch of sweets? Applejack shrugged. I don't know. I mean, Rose and Lily and Daisy all have cutie marks, and they just happen to coincide with their names as well. So I guess it must happen sometimes, right? Applebloom nodded. I don't care about all that. I'm just happy that the two of them got to be friends. Yeah, that's true, agreed Scootaloo. Ma'am? I mean, Applejack? Asked Sweetie Belle. Yeah, Sugar Cube? Do you think Lyra and Bonbon will ever get married? Scootaloo burst out giggling. Sweetie Belle, you big dummy. They're both mares. Mares can't get married with other mares. Applebloom laughed. Yeah, mares get married to stallions. But Applejack just smiled and said, I don't know, Sweetie Belle. I don't know. Anything could happen. 'Cause something tells me that Lyra and Bonbon's story ain't finished yet. Not by a long shot. The end. I hope you liked that cute little story about Lyra and Bonbon. The author again is Butterscotch Sunday. Be sure to check her or him out because the story, as you can tell, is a really good story, and I think you, as well as me, I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, leave a like and a comment, and I'll probably post another fanfic later in the week or next weekend. And this is Bruno from Equestria Uploads signing off. And Bronies Unite.